I'm on a mission.
What mission?
Peace in our time.
Just finished watching Avengers Age of Ultron, the next chapter in the Avengers and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not the end of Phase 2. The end of Phase 2 will be the next movie, which is Ant-Man. But yeah, we got our next Avengers movie, which is Avengers Age of Ultron, and I love this movie. This movie's great. You know what's funny? A lot of people, when this movie first came out, they were like, this movie's not so great. I remember when I first saw this movie, I was like, this movie's pretty good. And then I kind of was like, maybe it's not so great. But the more I watched it, the more I'm like, no, this movie's actually really, really good. Because you think about, you watch it back and you just think about how important this movie is to the MCU, just how critical it is into the development, not just of the characters, but also just where it goes as far as the storyline, really setting up the future of where the story is going to go. I think Ultron is one of the best villains of the MCU. I think he's both intimidating as a villain, but also very funny. He's actually pretty funny. One of my favorite lines from him is actually earlier in the is actually a moment in the film is when she's like, is when Iron Man looks at him and is like, "Hey, what's the vibranium for?" He's like, I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to take this time to explain my evil plan." I just love how sarcastic he is. And I like I like some of the new characters, you know. I like the introduction of like Ulysses Claw, which is played by Andy Serkis. Introduction to Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen, respectively, whatever. And the Vision is really, really great in this movie. I would say if I had an issue with the film is that there is a point in the film where I feel like the movie kind of gets a little bit crazy, where there's a point in the movie where Thor goes on a little vision quest, and that movie gets that section of the film gets a little crazy, because, you know, you have this moment where Thor just goes into, you know, and obviously it sets up the future. It sets up, you know, the Infinity Wars, and, you know, it sets up, you know, the lore of the Infinity Stones and all that. So obviously it is important going forward. But it's just a little weird. It's just like, I'm gonna go into the water of the spirits, and you know, I'm gonna bring the man of science, Dr. Eric Selvig, to the water of the spirits, and now I will go into the water, and the electricity will hit me, and you know, it almost felt like, you know what it felt like? It felt like it felt like Marvel. It felt like Marvel was trying to give Chris Evans a reason to take his shirt off, you know, because they needed to please a certain demographic. They needed to please a certain demographic, so they were like, "Oh, let's add this sequence here." But yeah, no, that's probably my only complaint with the movie. It's probably my only issue. It's probably the one thing I would probably, I probably would have taken it out of the movie. I probably would have removed it from the movie, and you wouldn't have missed it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Avengers Age of Ultron. It's a great movie. And yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie. And next up is Ant-Man. So join me for that one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.